Good morning, Seattle, and welcome to ATA News, where I'm your host, Rourke Strickland.
And I'm Rita Osborne. It's Tuesday, December 31st. Today's New Year's Eve, and if you've been with us for a while, you'll know that this time annually we revisit the biggest stories.
Seeing that the Cold War only just officially ended, we thought that'd be our point of focus this year.
So please stay tuned for our year in review.
We lead into this year following the process of the German reunification. This was when the German Democratic Republic finally became a part of the Federal Republic of Germany, and when Berlin came together again as a single city. What started in 1989 as only a hole in the Iron Curtain as Hungary's border fence with Austria was removed, became the re-establishment of the Berlin as the capital. We now know the latter as the German Unity Day on October 3, 1990.
Another thing that occurred this year was Operation Desert Storm and Shield. As a special guest, we have brought in an expert on the matter, Peter Maverick Mitchell.
Well, for starters, let's just review what exactly happened during Operation Desert Storm. This year, from the 17th of January to the 28th of February, the United States sent troops in to fight against Iraq. This was led by Saddam Hussein in the Gulf War. The physical Operation Desert Storm was the combat phase of the war. The name Operation Desert Storm was the code name for the U.S.-led United Nations operation to liberate oil-rich Kuwait from the invasion forces of Iraq. Operation Desert Storm lasted for 43 days, ending in a victory for the United States and the coalition forces from Europe, Canada, and Arab nations.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
You can keep it to yourself, but it wouldn't be fair, 'cause that chocolate crispy taste is loved
Everywhere. So give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Wherever there's a pool, there's always a flirt. Whenever there is school, there'll always be homework. Whenever there's a beat, there's always a drum. Whenever there's fun, there's always Coca-Cola. Yeah. Always Coca-Cola. The stars will always shine, the birds will always sing. As long as there is thirst, there's always the real thing. Coca-Cola is always the one. Whenever there is fun, there's always Coca-Cola. Yeah.
Welcome back to AT News, where we are now continuing our year in review. After having existed for 36 years, we watched this summer as the Warsaw Pact was finally dissolved. Though the military alliance between the Soviet Union and its satellite countries started off relatively strong, the anti-communist and anti-Soviet unrest that began in Eastern Europe during the late 1980s started to cause a tear in the treaty. In 1990, some of their most important countries began to leave the pact. In March of this year, the Soviet Union's tight control of the pact gave way when their own economic and political instability added to their struggles. Then, on the 1st of July, the Warsaw Pact Political Consultative Committee formally recognized the end of the treaty.
And only 4 months later, we saw the Soviet Union as a whole come to a complete end, and with it, the Cold War. The Cold War had lasted from 1947 to 1991, and though it slowly became less threatening the last few years, we all were able to breathe a sigh of relief after our President George W.H. Bush made the following speech.
Unfortunately, due to copyright reasons, we are unable to share the audio with the viewers.
He gave it to us Christmas night after he got off the phone with Boris Yeltsin, the previous Soviet politician and the first president of Russia, who gave the news. We'll turn you over now to watch a pre-recorded interview between our on-scene reporter, Monica Green, and a pedestrian after having just watched the president's speech.
Hello everyone, I am joined here with Alyssa Geller. It has been a few moments since the President addressed the end of the Soviet Union in the Cold War. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think it is amazing. I mean, I spent all my 32 years anticipating for a war that could have happened at any moment. There was so much tension between many countries, but it's incredible that it dissolved in a matter of hours. The fact that I don't have to worry about my family's future just gives me hope.
I completely agree with this. However, my husband won't be too happy to learn that after months of building a bunker, it'll go to waste. Anyways, I'll let you go back to your family and enjoy the holidays.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Alyssa was a great example of the American spirit that night, proving that every single person out there was filled with joy, hope, and amazement after the president's speech. In fact, as the Soviet Union came apart to form 15 separate countries, we all had even more reason to rejoice. No matter how tough or scary times got over the years, we were shown time and time again that democracy will always win over totalitarianism. We saw this again this year when Mikhail Gorbachev resigned as president of the USSR, and with him came the hammer and sickle.
When this happened, there were some questions on whether that was truly the end of the threats the Soviets posed to the well-being of democracy around the world. For those of you who are daily viewers, this will be a review, but on the 27th of December, we had two guests come in to have a discussion on the topic, Bernetta Pritchett and Anastasia Evgena Ivanov. Bernetta is a Stanford graduate who majored in several history courses, and Anastasia is our special guest from Russia, who happens to be professor in development politics. Here's a clip of them discussing the advantages and disadvantages of being a communist country, considering the recent lowering of the hammer and sickle in the Soviet Union.
The Soviet Union provided a system of social and economic equality to all. The people were under law and discipline. There were no injustices.
Social equality? Social equality is not the restriction of basic rights and liberties, which seemed to be the case in the Soviet Union.
Well then, is it not true when everybody faces certain restrictions, they are all equal?
Well, that may be true. I must advocate the fact that a country's government should not suppress personal individuality and abuse their own authority as yours did.
We do not suppress our people when we guarantee employment and provide stability and security. Ruska took good care of the people, and you, my friend, cannot argue against that.
If the Soviet Union took good care of their people, then why was there a lack of basic goods and products? That, my friend, is a flawed system.
There were many unfortunate circumstances that caused the lack of products. However, with more time, I can argue that those problems would have been sorted out.
Following that debate, we can see that there are many points of views on what was a growing and threatening government system. However, though it's only been a few days, the stop to all Soviet institutional operations, effective today, assures us that they are no longer an issue we need to discuss. Without having to worry about the oppressive presence of the Soviet Union anymore, we can now start the new year right by beginning to build up our hopes for a better future between all the nations of the globe.
Thank you all for watching tonight. Have a happy new year, and remember to tune in again tomorrow. We're your hosts, Rourke Strickland and Rita Osborne.
And this was ATA News.
Yeah.